I still can't entirely believe that this book exists, and I wrote it. Keep in mind, I've written plenty of books about television before. Some of them, like this one, feature episode-by-episode analysis designed to accompany your first or latest binge. One of those, Breaking Bad 101, even features many of the same characters who are so prominent on Better Call Saul. In most respects, this is very much along the lines of what I do. But when AMC and Sony announced plans for a Breaking Bad spin-off, where Bob Odenkirk would reprise his Breaking Bad role as sleazy attorney Saul Goodman, my initial reaction was, that's a terrible idea. Why would they do that? With all deference to the excellent work on the original show by Odenkirk, and by Jonathan Banks, who would be along for this new ride as unflappable fixer Mike Ehrmantraut, Saul seemed like way too thin a character to support his own series. Hell, for someone who primarily existed as comic relief, he wasn't even the funniest Breaking Bad character. Although Saul was a more consistent source of humor, Jesse Pinkman's comedic highs outstripped anything Saul did or said. I went into the spin-off with an open mind, simply because I trusted co-creators Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould, as well as all the other members of the Breaking Bad behind-the-scenes team they brought with them to the prequel. While I definitely enjoyed the early episodes, it was more for the craft of individual scenes and performances than for any clear sense of what kind of story Better Call Saul meant to tell. The first season of Breaking Bad was slow, but never meandering or palpably doubting itself in the way Saul was at the same stage. Years later, in interviews you can find elsewhere in this book, both Gilligan and Gould admitted that it took them quite a long time to figure out what Better Call Saul even was, that they kept being surprised by where the story was taking them, and that this eventually meant that Odenkirk and Banks were starring in parallel shows that operated under the same title. Yet for all the trial and error, for all the false starts, abrupt changes in direction, and abundant "is he Saul now? How about now? This time maybe?" teases, something was clearly working,